Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss the topic commercial cells and batteries. Basically, beta, this is the topic of Unit 2 Electrochemistry. We will start with the commercial cells and batteries today. All of you know that electrochemical cells are very important in our daily day-to-day life. These are used in watches, wall clocks, remotes, etc. The number of applications of electrochemical cells are in our daily life. And what is basically this term battery means? This term battery means combination of cells in series. Series combination of cells is known as battery. Like we used to use 2 cells, 3 cells in our remotes. So all these cells are connected in series. So these type of combinations are known as batteries. And then we will discuss with what are the characteristics of a good commercial cell or batteries. Characteristics of a good commercial cell. What are the basic requirements for a good commercial cells? Good characteristics for a good basic requirements for a good commercial cell. Number 1, it should be compact, lightweight, and easily transferable. A cell or a battery must be or should be light in weight, compact in size, and easily transportable. This is the first characteristic for good cell and battery. Small size, lightweight, and can be easily taken from one place to another. Second character of good cell and battery is it should give constant voltage supply. It should give constant voltage supply. Means supply should not fluctuate during its use. And third characteristic of a good cell and battery is sufficient life period. Sufficient life period. This means whatever money we spend on a particular cell or battery, it should go accordingly. It should give a sufficient life period for them, which should be cost effective, not very much costly in nature. Then we will discuss further. There are 2 types of commercial cells and batteries. There are basically 2 types of commercial cells and battery, out of which today our topic of discussion is first type, A type. These are called primary cells. But these are known as primary cells. Now, what are these primary cells? Why these are called primary cells? Basically, primary cells are non-rechargeable, single time usable. We used to say use and throw. The cells which cannot be recharged and reused again and again. We can use it one time only. Once they are dead, we have to throw them out. So commonly we use these remote cells, our TV remote, dish remote, number of remotes are there. All these remote cells which are costing from 10 to 20 rupees, they are single time use only. Then very small cells which we use in our watches, they are also, we'll discuss today, they are called mercury cells. They are also single time use only. So they cannot be recharged and used again and again. Once they will become dead, they become useless. So these type of cells are called primary cells, and we will discuss two examples of primary cells. Today we will discuss two examples of primary cells. Number one is dry cell. First example of primary cell is dry cell. The most familiar commercial cells are dry cells. Most commonly used cells in our daily life are dry cells that are used in wall clocks, remotes, small cells. These are comes in the category of dry cells. So in each cell, basically we have to discuss four things, beta. Number one, uses of these cells, then what anode cathode they are made up of, then the reaction on their anode and cathode, and then voltage connected with each cell. So starting with the dry cell, first basic concept of dry cell, that is where it is used. Common uses of dry cells. Dry cell is used in our remote controls, commonly used daily life remote controls, wall clocks, toys, etc. These are commonly used forms of dry cell in our daily life. लीस्ट कॉस्ट सब तो सस्ते हैं बच्चे ਜਿਹੜੇ ਡਰਾਈ ਸੈੱਲ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ. ਐਂਡ then comes what are the anode, cathode and electrolyte of this dry cells. Internal structure of dry cell. Anode of dry cells is made up of zinc metal. Cathode of dry cell is made up of manganese dioxide, and electrolyte used in dry cell is a paste of ammonium chloride and zinc chloride. These are three main components of a dry cell. Anode made up of zinc, cathode made up of manganese dioxide, and electrolyte that is connecting between anode and cathode, just like working of a salt bridge, which makes the balance between anode and cathode, and both can keep both of them electrically neutral. And then comes third and most important thing, which is mostly asked in your exams, board exams, that is reactions happening inside this cell. Anode reaction, cathode reaction, overall reaction. So we'll start with the anode reaction. So anode reaction happening inside these dry cells are that zinc is, all of you know, number of times I've discussed in class, what happens at anode? Always oxidation. The electrode on which oxidation takes place is known as anode. And in these cells, what happens at anode? Zinc is oxidized into zinc plus 2 ion by losing 2 electrons. So this is how electrons are generated from anode side. So at anode, what happens? Oxidation of zinc takes place. Then comes cathode reaction. You know what is cathode? The terminal at which a reduction reaction takes place is known as cathode. So in this case, in this cell, what happens at cathode is that manganese dioxide is basically its cathode. So together with the 2 electrons from anode side, 2 molecules of manganese dioxide and 2 ammonium ion from electrolytes. This is how reaction takes place at cathode. Manganese dioxide, 2 electron from anode and ammonium ion from electrolyte. So this reaction takes place and the product formed is MnOH plus 2 molecules of ammonia. Basically, if you look at this reaction, So where reduction is taking place, if you want to look at reduction, the reduction is happening here. Manganese is +4 on this side and +3 on this side. So manganese +4 is reduced to manganese +3. Internal, if you want to look at the reduction. And then comes overall reaction. What is the overall reaction happening in the cell? Overall, basically redox reaction, reduction plus oxidation. The overall reaction is zinc, which is acting as a anode, plus manganese dioxide, which is acting as a cathode, plus ammonium ion from electrolyte. They react to form zinc ions plus this compound of manganese plus 2 molecules of ammonia. So these are most important conceptual things बच्चे पेपर सब तो ज़्यादा क्वेश्चन इन टॉपिक्स के ऊपर छोटे छोटे 1-2 नंबर के जेडे दे आर अबाउट द रिएक्शंस ऑफ एनोड कैथोड ऑफ दिस रिएक्शन. तो दिस इज एनोड कैथोड एंड ओवरऑल रिएक्शन. एंड फाइनल पॉइंट, व्हाट इज द वोल्टेज ऑब्टेनेबल फ्रॉम डाई सेल्स. तो कॉमनली यूज्ड ड्राई सेल्स यूज टू गिव voltage ranging between 1.2 volt to 1.5 volt. So this is the voltage obtainable from the dry cells. मार्केट ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਛੋਟੇ ਡਰਾਈ ਸੈਲਸ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ 1.2 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 1.5 ਵੋਲਟ ਤੱਕ ਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, commonly lying between this. Okay, so this is all about the dry cell. Second, that type of cell today we will discuss is second example of primary cells, that is mercury cell. Mercury cell. All of you have seen this cell. Commonly, these are the smallest electrochemical cells used in our daily life. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਛੋਟੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਸਟੀਲ ਦੇ ਸੈੱਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਬੇਟੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਥ ਤੇ ਬੰਨਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਘੜੀਆਂ 'ਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਰਿਸਟ ਵਾਚਿਸ. The cells which are used in wrist watches, hearing aids and small toys, very small size toys, they are known as mercury cells. So mercury cells are number one uses. Basically we identify them from our daily life uses. ਉੱਥੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਆਇਡੈਂਟੀਫਾਈ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਵਰਤਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ. तो mercury cells are used in wrist watches, hearing aids, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਮਸ਼ੀਨ ਲਗਾਉਂਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਘੱਟ ਸੁਣਦਾ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਛੋਟੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਸੈੱਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਦੈਟ ਇਜ਼ ਯੂਜ਼ ਇਨ ਹੀਅਰਿੰਗ ਏਡਸ ਐਂਡ ਸਮਾਲ ਟॉयਜ਼, ਛੋਟੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਖਿਡੌਣਿਆਂ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਯੂਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੈ. So these are commonly used cells in our daily life. Wrist watches, hearing aids, small toys and many more places of their uses also, but commonly used to look like this. So in this case, what are the anode, cathode and electrolyte of mercury cell? Anode of mercury cell is also made up of zinc metal. And cathode of mercury cell is made up of mercuric oxide, and electrolyte used in mercury cell is potassium hydroxide. So these are three basic components of this mercury cell. Anode made up of zinc, cathode made up of mercuric oxide, and bridge between them is electrolyte, potassium hydroxide. Connector between anode and cathode, just like salt bridge we have discussed in the class. Then comes, what are the reactions happening inside these cells? The most important things and commonly asked in paper. Anode reaction. What happens at the anode of mercury cell? Always oxidation. What happens at the anode of mercury cell is zinc is oxidized. Basically here also oxidation of zinc takes place. The zinc is oxidized into zinc oxide plus water molecule plus 2 electrons. If you look at this, it is a balanced equation. Zinc is changed into zinc plus 2 ions. plus water plus 2 electrons. Then comes cathode reaction. What happens at the cathode of mercury cell? Always reduction, cathode से reduction होती है हमेशा. And cathode of mercury cell, as we've told you already, is made up of mercuric oxide. So mercuric oxide at cathode combines with water and 2 electrons formed at anode. And product formed is mercury plus 2 hydroxide ions. If you look at this, it is also a balanced equation. Basically here mercuric oxide is reduced into mercury and 2 hydroxide ions formed here will go to anode, and water molecule and 2 electrons formed at anode will always move to the cathode. This is how charge is balanced between anode and cathode. Then comes its overall reaction. Overall reaction is simplest in this case of cell, redox reaction. Overall reaction is zinc plus mercuric oxide changes into zinc oxide plus mercury. This is overall reaction of this cell. And there is one very important note, special character of this cell. Always asked in exam writing with the star. हमेशा पेपर से आया बच्चे, लास्ट ईयर भी आया सी. One special character of this cell is that it gives constant voltage supply during its lifetime. लाइफ टाइम मीनस जिन्ना चिर सैल चलता है, साल 1.5 2 साल जिन्ना चिर भी चलता है, यदि वोल्टेज बिल्कुल फ्लक्चुएट नहीं करती. एंड रीज़न बिहाइंड दिस इज बिकॉज इट्स ओवरऑल सेल reaction does not contain any ion. देखो ऊपर वाला आंसर है, वाला कि ये ओवरऑल सेल रिएक्शन कोई भी कीटायन एंड आयन इन्वॉल्व नहीं है. इसे करके ये कोई कीटायन एंड आयन कॉन्सनट्रेशन चेंज नहीं होंगी, तेरी वोल्टेज फ्लक्चुएट नहीं होंगी. अ नोट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन दिस टॉपिक. सब तो ज़्यादा जरूरी है, एनोड कैथोड रिएक्शन तो भी ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. मैक्सिमम टाइम एग्जाम च आया, इन्ना ही चाहिए, इन्ना ही तुहानूं लिखवाया बस. यू नीड टू लर्न दिस. एंड लास्ट ऑफ टुडे इज voltage. The voltage supply of these cells is 1.35 volt. Mercury cells commonly comes in the voltage range of 1.35 volt. Clear? So that's all for today, beta. Thank you.